You know that feeling when something just snaps inside you? When you see someone cross a line so cruelly, and you realize they think they'll get away with it? That's exactly what happened that Halloween night. The sound of laughter filled our street, kids dressed as ghosts and superheroes, running from door to door. The soft orange glow of pumpkins flickered along every porch. It was the kind of night that reminds you what innocence feels like. But then, a blaring horn shattered the air. It wasn't a quick warning honk. It was long, angry, aggressive. I turned toward the sound, and what I saw made my stomach twist. One of the neighborhood kids, no older than 10, was riding his little bike, trying to catch up to his friends. And behind him, a silver SUV sped up, closing in close enough to make the kid flinch. The driver didn't slow down. He leaned on his horn like he wanted to scare him on purpose. The boy nearly lost control of his bike. His candy bucket spilled across the pavement. My husband and I were standing at our front gate, frozen. It was like watching someone kick a puppy, senseless, cruel, and completely unnecessary. And the driver? He just laughed. He looked right at the kid in the rearview mirror, and smirked. That was the exact moment I knew this man had no idea who he was dealing with. If you've ever seen someone hurt a child, or use their power to scare someone smaller just because they can, then you know that cold rage that burns inside you. So before I tell you how karma came for this man, hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to hear is one of the most satisfying acts of petty revenge you'll ever experience. We live in a quiet cul-de-sac, the kind of place where everyone waves at each other, kids play on the sidewalks, and every family knows who's who. Everyone, except him. Our neighbor, let's call him Mark, had moved in about a year ago. From the start, he gave off that energy. You know the type. The guy who revs his engine at midnight, who thinks everyone's parking space belongs to him, and who has that smug grin that says, "I make the rules around here." Mark owned 3 cars. And for some reason, 2 of them were always parked in front of our house. Not his. Ours. At first I let it go. It wasn't technically illegal, just inconsiderate. But then he started parking one of them halfway into our curb, blocking our guests. And if that wasn't enough, he'd blare his horn every time he saw a kid cross the street, like he wanted to remind the world how impatient he was. Still, we never said anything. Until Halloween night. When that horn blared behind that kid, I swear my hands started shaking. My husband muttered under his breath, "What the hell is wrong with him?" The boy looked terrified. He tried to pick up his candy, his tiny hands trembling as he shoved chocolates and wrappers back into his bucket. Mark didn't even stop. He just turned down the street, speeding off like he hadn't almost traumatized the child. The silence afterward was heavy. The laughter had stopped. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. That's when I realized I couldn't just let it slide. When someone targets a child, even indirectly, that's a different kind of evil. And in that moment I knew exactly what to do. Because Mark's cars had been sitting parked illegally for weeks. The city has a rule. If a car doesn't move for more than 72 hours, it can be reported, ticketed, and towed. Mark had left his cars there for almost a month. And every morning, when I took the trash out, I'd see those same license plates staring back at me, a daily reminder of how little he respected anyone else. So, that night, still shaking with anger, I walked inside, opened my laptop, and went straight to the city's online complaint form. It only took 10 minutes. 10 quiet, powerful minutes. I listed both his cars. The make, the model, the plates. I even attached photos, time-stamped and geotagged. When I hit submit, I felt a calm I hadn't felt all night. Not because I wanted to ruin him, but because I wanted balance restored. The next morning, I woke up early. The sun hadn't even risen yet. I poured myself a cup of coffee, walked out to the porch, and waited. At exactly 9:15 a.m., A white pickup truck pulled into the cul-de-sac, the city's parking enforcement team. 2 officers got out, looked at Mark's cars, and began writing on bright orange tags. They stuck one on each windshield, bold, impossible to miss. "Move your vehicle or it will be towed." I smiled. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was quiet, lawful revenge. The best kind. About an hour later, I heard the sound of an engine revving, and there he was, storming out of his front door barefoot, hair a mess, clutching a cup of coffee like his life depended on it. He saw the tags, and froze. Then he ripped one off, crumpled it, and looked around like he was searching for someone to blame. For a second, our eyes met across the street. He knew. I smiled politely and waved. He scowled, got into his car, and sped off. Then he came back and moved the other one too. Both of them, gone. And you know what? Since that day, he's never parked in front of our house again. He never honked at the neighborhood kids. In fact, he barely looks at anyone anymore. I didn't celebrate. I didn't brag. But that night, when I saw the same kid riding his bike again, smiling this time, candy bucket in hand, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: peace. Justice doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's as simple as an orange sticker on a windshield, a quiet reminder that cruelty has consequences. People like Mark think they can go through life intimidating others because no one will stand up to them. But all it takes is one witness, one person who says, "No. Not this time." I don't know if Mark ever realized I was the one who reported him. But honestly, it doesn't matter. Because sometimes, revenge isn't about recognition. It's about restoring balance, proving to yourself that decency still matters. So yeah. He honked at a kid. I honked back, through the city. And Karma? She rode in on 4 wheels with orange stickers. If that story gave you chills, if it reminded you that small acts of justice still matter, then hit that like button. Tell me in the comments. Have you ever seen someone get exactly what they deserved in the most unexpected way? And of course, subscribe for more true stories where karma always finds her way home. Because sometimes, revenge doesn't have to be loud to be perfectly satisfying.